What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of price action trading. And today started with a downtrend. We were making lower highs, lower lows. The EMA is holding prices. You can see how EMA is holding prices. The prices are constantly closing below the EMA. So there's definitely no argument that this wouldn't be a downtrend. So we have to draw the short-term trend lines at this point because this is not such a big of a downtrend. Just draw the short-term trend lines. This is what I did today. And it was fairly easy to find. You can see it fits from the lows, it fits from the highs. It's rejecting prices. Prices are fitting neatly. So right now, at this point on, we should be only looking to sell. We have an overshoot right here, and quite a big one. And you know what overshoot means. Overshoot means we're most likely gonna break the trend line soon, or possibly reverse straight up. So every time you see overshoot of the trend line, you want to pay a little bit more attention to taking the trades at the trend line, second entries at the trend line, because with the overshoot, there's going to be more bulls jumping into the market. So we want to let the selling setups, kind of pass. But we traded up higher. We have the short-term trend line working up higher, this bullish trend line. And once again, this is why you have to draw the short-term trend lines, because they will keep you on the right side of the market. So we're working up higher right now, but overall, we are looking for a new low because we have a break of this downtrend working lower. So price action trend line rules are telling us that after a break, there's most likely going to be a new low, but we have this correction as well. So we cannot be looking for short setups unless this bullish correction is over. And we have a little bit overshoot right here as well. We break the trend line, we make a new high, and we turn down lower. This would be a little bit tempting to take if the signal bar was much more bearish, if the bullish body wasn't so bullish, the body was a little bit more bearish. But nevertheless, as the signal bar as it stands right now, we have to ignore this. But nevertheless, we have a break and a new high. So this bullish correction played out and we can be safely looking for shorts. We went through the EMA, and this is what we want to see, the beginning of a reversal pattern. We spiked through the EMA, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. But now we are back we are back on the EMA, and the EMA is a little bit holding prices. So this is not a reversal pattern. This is not ideal. We want to see, when we are looking for a reversal pattern, we want to see EMA holding prices and not pushing through the EMA, and then EMA is holding prices from the other side, from the bottom. And now you can see the EMA is in the middle of those bars, and we're kind of going sideways. So this is just a small little congestion, small little trading range, but we are still looking for a new low because this downtrend still, we don't have a new low in place. So all we should be looking to go is shorts at this point on. And this is where I had my loser. This is where I took my first loser for the day. I'm going to show you guys how it looked. It looked like this. You can see we're starting making lower highs, lower lows. This is starting to look like the bears are more in control, and we have a new low right here. Pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry. There's a break and a new high. At least attempt to make a new high, double top. I don't have the little short-term trend line drawn, but it's there. And look at the nice bearish reversal bar. Such a beautiful bar, big body, second entry short. It is far away from EMA, but I thought that we might have a lot of bears in the market willing to make a new low. And as you can see, I got trapped here. And at the time, I had the support somewhere around here. So initially, I was thinking there's a little bit more room to the support. But unfortunately, it ended up being a little bit too close. And I had my first loser here, cannot really sweat it. That will happen. And once again, so we reverse from here. We shot through the EMA. And from this point on, when you see prices pushing back through EMA and the second entry short failing, the bears are not in the market and bulls are jumping in. We spike through EMA. You draw the shorter-term trend line once again because they will help your trading so much. This is why you need to always keep drawing them. Unfortunately, right now there is a second entry long, but we are below the EMA, and it is off the trend line, but we are below the EMA, and the bar has 2 ticks of bearish body, so not ideal. You push higher, we have this bearish correction working lower, but we are still looking for a new high of this bullish correction. So we have a break and a new high. This was very tempting to take, I'll be honest with you, because we have this trend line working lower. We have a little bit of overshoot right here, so it leads to a break and attempt to make a new low. We have a double bottom right here. If we closed a little bit higher, a little bit at the EMA or slightly above the EMA, this would be a perfect buy setup. But the fact we closed below the EMA, I was a little bit hesitant. We might take a little bit higher, make one more push down, make a legit new low of this correction working low, and then go higher. But nevertheless, I think it is worth taking a shot here. But I want to teach you guys only the highest probability setups that I like. So, I skipped this trade. Nevertheless, you can see how the short-term corrections are playing out so nicely. We have a break and a new high. So once we have this break and a new high, we can be looking for shorts now, because we still don't have like a legit new low, and I was still keeping that in mind. And you can see we're not really rallying up higher too much. There's some resistance probably forming. I don't have it drawn, but you can eyeball it that the prices are turning down constantly. We have a new high right here, pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry. But we are very far away from EMA, and I don't want to happen what happened right here. And this is just a first entry right now. And look how far away you're from EMA. You're very, very far away from EMA. So it was better to wait for this failure. This is now at the EMA, big bullish, big bearish reversal bar. EMA is holding prices right now. And this was the trade at the key entry point. This is why we want to take the most trades at key entry point as we can. And from this point on, the way the support didn't hold prices, I mean, I was very surprised that we didn't even get a little bit bounce here. We just made a one tiny bounce, and we instantly spiked down lower. So, at this point on, I was still looking for short, because this starting to look like a big downtrend from this point on. The way we shot through the EMA, I was kind of switching into downtrend gears. Early on, it looked like trading range gears, but I was switching to downtrend gears. We made the new low right here. And we have a first entry short. You can see a tiny little bit tick right here. Pull back, second entry short. It is at the key entry point, but we don't have a new high yet, or we don't even have an attempt to make a new high. So I still think it's much better to wait for higher probability setups, which came earlier, because we have a failed second entry. We have a second entry short at the key entry point. But if we wait for a lower high, we pulled back a little bit. One attempt by the bulls to go higher, and it failed instantly below the EMA. This is a lower high to this second entry short. Tiny little bar. I think it's worth taking a shot here, because the EMA is holding prices so nice. This is a key entry point, and it is a lower high of the second entry. And so far, this is starting to look like a downtrend at this point on. And prices are working up lower, and you can see we have a new high right here. Pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long that fell. But I don't want you guys to take this trade, because this is at the very low of the day. Look how close you are to the lows of the day. You're far away from EMA, and this is where most beginners will get trapped, because they were starting to see that it worked once. Let these trades pass by. It's okay to miss these, even though it is a failed second entry long. It is not at the key entry point. Anything can happen right here. You can easily bounce one tick higher and then go lower. You don't really know what might happen. So definitely don't go short at the very low of the day. You want to be shorting the corrections, the pullback, as high as you can. That's the way to trade the corrections. We're working lower, and we have actually a reversal pattern right here, and you can see how the EMA is holding prices very nicely. But look how bearish the market has been since the entire day. We were just chopping lower slowly. So I think it's way too early to be looking for a reversal pattern, because on a bigger picture, everything is still bearish. Once again, just because it worked here once doesn't mean the next time it's going to work. Just because it worked 1 out of 10 times, next time the 9 times out of 10 it's gonna fail. So don't pick bottoms too early. It is tempting. It is very tempting the way this is a second entry long, new high right here, pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry. The way EMA is holding prices, there's such a nice reversal bar, bullish pin bar. I mean, this is so tempting. So for my advanced traders, if you took it, I'm not gonna scold you on this, but definitely you're kind of playing with the fire a little bit here. Once again, draw the shorter term trend line. We're working up higher. We have a break. We have a break of this little correction working lower. As you can see, we have a break, new low. And this is the first break of this bullish trend line working higher. We have a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. But we still didn't trigger higher above this bullish bar. We just triggered higher above this bearish bar. So you don't want to go long above this bearish bar, because this is, obviously when we are looking to go long, we only want to see the signal bars to be bullish, and when we are going short, we want to be looking for signal bars to be bearish. But we get a tiny little higher low, tiny little pullback. EMA is still holding prices. It is still part of the second entry long. It got some bullish tint to it. So we are still looking for a new high according to trendline rules. So very good trade to take. And once again, we have a break, new high. So what are we looking for now? Yes, once again, the other trade correction. So we have a new high right here, pullback. We push through the EMA. This is what we want to see. Do nicely. We push through the EMA. First entry long, pullback. Second entry long. It is off to trend line. It is slightly close to the EMA. You can see the difference between this setup and this setup. This, you're very close. I mean, you're very far away from the EMA. And if you draw the short-term trend line at the time, you overshot the trend line. And you can see it led to break. But right here, the trend line is fitting prices nicely. You can see the trend line is valid because it fits prices neatly inside the trend line. So the trend line is holding prices. You're way closer to EMA here than here. You're way too far away from EMA here. So these are just the tiny nuances that you have to be aware to filter the losers. First entry long, second entry long failed. We spiked through EMA. We are now in the downtrend. According to our rules, this is where we're gonna go short. And I was a little bit surprised we don't have a new low. And just market reverse from this point. The pivot happened right here and bulls jump into the market. And I got the idea at this point on because we're still looking at the new low to make a new low of this bearish correction, break any new low. This is what should have been happening. We have a first entry short, second entry short, but we have this bullish correction in place. So you don't want to take the chance too early. But the way we shot through EMA, we pull back and again, big bullish bar spike through EMA. At this point on, this is kind of when I gave up on this idea. This may be a downtrend because such a push off the EMA is such a gigantic bullish bar, and this next bar was also so bullish. So when I was seeing this, I was trying to look for some bigger pattern, and this trend line was not easy to find early because early on, and I'm gonna give you guys what exactly I was looking on. I was looking at something like this, but it really wasn't fitting the whole time right here. And once we actually made a bounce right here, because let me draw it like here, it really doesn't fit from the tops that much. Prices are not holding, the trend lines are not holding prices neatly. But you can see there's a little bit geometrical pattern forming right here. You can see this bigger trend line. There's definitely, we are bouncing over here constantly. So this is definitely seems valid. And once we actually made the bounce right here, this is when I put it in place and I was kind of treating it as a valid uptrend. Nevertheless, we are working up higher. There is a second entry long right here, but it's far away from EMA. It's not at the key entry point. So you let this one go. We only wait for higher probability setups. We went higher. We are working up lower. We have a break and a new low. Perfect price action. Once again, short-term trend lines. They will give you so much winners. It's ridiculous. Break and a new low. They're definitely too early to go long here because at this point on the trend line, this just set the trend line up. You were a little at the time you really didn't know where the trend line is going to be, even though prices are fitting very nicely right here. You don't really know. It's way too early. We're below the EMA, but we push through the EMA. This is exactly what we want to see. The trend line is holding, gigantic push through EMA. First entry short, pull back, second entry short, and failed. And here we have a little bit of dilemma regarding our entry bars because the second entry long triggered at this horrible bearish bar, and the next bar, this bullish bar, has a big stem to it. So not both those bars are horrible, but when we got this tiny little bullish bar, inside bar, and a little bit of chance to enter a little bit earlier and not having to wait for trigger one tick higher above this bullish bar, I like this trade. And this is the perfect idea and perfect example where market context is absolutely everything at this point, and you can kind of not pay that attention to signal bar. It may be a little bit of confusing that I kind of teach you guys both. Sometimes you skip the good signal bar or the bad signal bar, sometimes don't. But you have to realize the market context is always stronger than the one single bar, because if you just trade the good bars, good entry bars, good pin bars, you will fail at trading because there are good bars all over the chart. But the fact that this is a key entry point and the EMA is holding prices and 2 attempts that failed by the bears to take the market lower, and the way we shot through the EMA, such a bullish momentum of the trend line. EMA is holding prices. At this point, I was just begging for some entry to go long. And a little bit of aggressive. So if you skip this one, it's okay because the signal bars are horrible. So definitely, you know, skippable trade. I'm just giving you my thoughts on this and how I'm using my experience to kind of take a little bit guess here. And you can see a nice scalp. So we're in this uptrend looking for new highs and constantly making new highs and higher highs, higher lows. We have a new high right here, pull back, first entry, pull back, second entry triggered above this bearish bar. So this is not where we want to enter, because once again, the market context is strong here, but you know, not the signal bar is very bearish. So when this next bullish bar appeared, this is where we want to take the second entry long according to our strategy at the key entry point. Once again, we close above the EMA and you get another entry or one more trap to trap the bears who don't know what they're doing, because there's a trend line and the bulls are now in control and everything is going up higher. The EMA is constantly looking up higher. Push lower, beautiful bullish reversal bar off the key entry point. Very safe trade, and you can see what it ended up being. And the last trade that I marked to finish the day, because this was late and I'm actually doing this, as you guys can see, on Saturday morning. Probably some of you could have gotten trapped here, because we have a new right here, we have a correction market lower break and a new low, and you can see it is off the trend line, it is off the EMA. The short-term correction played out, and this is the perfect example why you cannot be mad when you have a loser, because nothing in price action and nothing in trading is 100% and nothing is written in stone. If everything in trading was 100%, everybody would be doing it. There would be no doctors, there would be no congressmen, there would be, you know, no lawyers, judges, anything, because everybody would just be making money trading 20 minutes a day and making $5 grand a day. So definitely anything can happen in price action, but there's definitely clues, because you can see how each time here we kind of made it up higher, almost to the trend line, and you can see each time we are not making it to the trend line. We are actually the highs, we are not even making it to the midline at this point on. So there's a clues that we still didn't make it even to the midline. And you can see the trend is starting to waver. You can see we're kind to lean more towards to this trend line. We are not really bouncing up and down from this support to this resistance, because that's what the trend lines are. And you can see we're just starting to, you know, chop along this EMA and this trend line, and you kind of it's starting to be a little bit clogged here. And this is the little bit of, you know, the information you get from the market that this trade might fail, because it is, you know, it is at the turning point when the trend is ending. Nevertheless, we have a break right here, attempts to make a new high. We actually, we didn't make a new high, just probably double top or one tick lower. Nevertheless, 2 attempts to make a new high, but it was very late at the day, and you don't want to definitely be trading Fridays late. This was the bigger picture. Once again, the key to take away from this lesson, the short-term trend lines are just phenomenal. If you just follow these, the way your trading is going to be easier. It's really ridiculous, because every time the most mistakes you make is when you kind of want to bend the rules, and you don't really want to wait for these corrections to play it out and for the short-term trend lines to play it out. They are definitely helping you so much. And yes, we actually ended up in a bigger trading range overall, but there was definitely a downtrend and an uptrend meanwhile. Nevertheless, I wish you guys a safe weekend, and see you guys next one. Bye guys.